Okay, we're going to talk about fraction and decimal word problems. Mostly these problems are going to deal with fractions. So let's take a look at the first example. And in example 1 it says Ted used a 5-iron, but the ball only covered 4/5 of the distance. If he hit the ball 112 yards, what was the required distance? And these problems are somewhat similar to these of what is problems, except they're a little bit more involved, a little bit more wordy. So let's just read through this again. Ted used a 5-iron, but the ball only covered 4/5 of really what he wanted to cover for the distance. If he hit the ball 112 yards, what was the required distance? So what we'll do is we're going to form an equation. So we could say that 4/5 of what required distance. I'm going to use RD to represent the required distance. So 4/5 of what number would give us the 112 yards that were covered? So 4/5 of what original total? So what original overall distance do we need to cover to give us the 112? So if we look at this, we're going to solve this for RD. So let's see, they're multiplying by 4/5, so we're going to divide by 4/5. And the 4/5 cancel. And let's see here, 112 divided by 4/5, which really means 112 divided by 4/5. And let's change it to a multiplication problem. So it's 112 times 5/4. And let's see if we can cross cancel. Let's see if we can divide 112 by 4 evenly. Goes twice, which is 8, remainder of 3, and that's 28. So I can divide both these by 4, and I have 28 left in the top. Now 28 times 5, which is 140. Right, so really what this is saying then is that the required distance is 140 yards. Well, he hit it 112 yards. So would this make sense? You know, he covered 4/5 of the distance, which is very close. He got very close. And so it makes sense that the overall distance he had to cover was 140 yards, because he was close with 112 yards. All right, one more example. It says 3/4 of the tickets had been sold, and there were 420 tickets left. How many tickets were printed? Now this is a little bit more involved than this last example, and I'm going to underline a couple key words here. 3/4 of the tickets were sold. Okay, so 3/4 were sold, but when we go to the next part of the sentence, it says there were 420 tickets left, meaning that 420 were not sold. And if you recall, a few lessons ago, we had problems where we had to make sure that we were talking about the same type of topic. So if 3/4 had been sold, but yet it's talking about 420 that were not sold, I got to get those on the same page. I got to make sure those are the same topic. So 3/4 were sold, meaning that 1/4 were not sold. So 1/4 of what original total that were printed would give us the 420 that were sold. Now, is the 1/4 and the 420 talking about the same thing? Let's see, 1/4 would be the ones that were not sold, 420 were not sold, and they are the same topic. Now I can solve it to find the original total, or how many were originally printed. So they're multiplying by 1/4, we'll divide by 1/4. And they cancel. So 420 divided by 1/4. Or in other words, 420 times 4/1. So to get your answer, we're going to take 420 times 4. And 1,680 tickets were printed. Now let's see if this answer makes sense. So 3/4 of the tickets had been sold. So most of them had been sold, and there were 420 tickets left. So Not many were left, right? 1/4 were left. So out of the 1,680, 420 left, which means that, all right, not many were left. So actually this answer makes pretty good sense because not many tickets were not left. So 1,680 tickets were printed in all.